Harry loses the plot. The Duke of Sussex's first day in the witness stand in his needless and bitter war against the Daily Mail newspaper was a complete disaster. The guy is a hot mess, attacking the royal family, once again playing the victim card. Poor me, the world's least happy millionaire.
There was a reason Meghan Markle didn't want Prince Harry to go to war with the Daily Mail. And today we now understand why.
Harry is quite delusional. I believe that he behaves like an immature teenager that is still throwing one big epic tantrum. He's not listening.
Radar Online says Prince Harry is now so deeply unhappy in California, he's intent on quitting his life in the United States, with sources telling Radar he's now homesick. A lost Duke who feels stalled, isolated, and desperate to reclaim a sense of purpose away from Hollywood.
Devastating moment for Prince Harry's reputation and credibility, as he argues with a judge while in the dock, contradicts himself, appears to fib about using the...
Breaking news! Prince Harry's ex-girlfriend, Chelsea Davy, has suddenly become the focus of his massive £40 million court battle. And Meghan Markle is said to be absolutely fuming. Reports say Harry's legal team is losing confidence fast, and even his own $20 million memoir is now being used against him in court. The judge didn't hold back, publicly calling him out. And it's about to get even more chaotic, because now there's talk that Chelsea's husband might take legal action against Harry next. And just wait until you hear what the late Queen allegedly warned him before her passing. This courtroom saga is spiraling out of control. Day 2 at London's High Court, Harry versus the Daily Mail. The newspaper's barrister rises and unleashes a total bombshell, reading out testimony packed with private details from Harry's past relationship with Chelsea Davy.
The pseudonym Mr. Mischief?
So when I was in court for Prince Harry's case on Monday, I thought that I saw the woman who I understand to be Prince Harry's alleged stalker, so-called stalker, lined up outside courtroom 76, trying to get access after lunch on day 1 when his team were laying out his case.
That Harry, as part of his concession to the King in order to return, will not launch any new legal actions against the UK press.
Well, as we all know, Prince Harry is...
The court listens as romantic moments, personal conversations, and their quiet getaway to Botswana are described in stunning detail, even down to where Harry supposedly preferred to spend the night. Harry reportedly froze in shock, his face turning pale as the memories came flooding back. Because to many, Chelsea Davy represents everything Meghan Markle is not. Chelsea grew up with wealth, class, and independence. She never needed the spotlight, never chased cameras, never leaked a story. She handled her breakup with Harry gracefully and built a peaceful life far from the drama, now married with children and living privately in Africa. Harry, on the other hand, once said he wanted privacy and simplicity, yet his every move keeps landing him right back in the headlines. Meghan, on the other hand, has been accused of sharing details with the press since the very beginning, turning every part of their relationship into a headline. From Netflix documentaries to Oprah interviews and big podcast deals, she's built an entire brand out of their royal drama. The contrast between Meghan and Chelsea couldn't be more striking. Here's where things take a brutal turn. Harry is in court, claiming the Daily Mail violated his privacy by reporting on his old relationship with Chelsea. But he never stopped to ask if she wanted her private life dragged through the spotlight again, 2 decades later. Reports even claim Chelsea's husband privately asked Harry to stop mentioning her altogether. But Harry didn't listen. Now, once again, her name is splashed across global headlines.
Is in the UK. He is testifying around this case that he has against the Associated News.
Getting into big trouble with the judge for yelling at the Daily Mail's main lawyer. Harry is out of control. He hates accountability, and his performance in the witness stand today was absolutely wild.
But Harry's in court because he's still suing the Daily Mail. He's still suing.
All because of his lawsuit. The irony here is wild. This is the same man who published deeply personal details in his own book. From William's private moments to emotional family conversations, even sharing what should have stayed between him and his late grandmother. Yet somehow, he's painting this as the ultimate invasion of privacy. Meanwhile, sources close to the couple say Meghan is losing her cool while Harry is in London, caught in the storm. And the tabloids can't stop pointing out how different Chelsea was. Calm, classy, unbothered, and totally uninterested in fame. Everything Meghan reportedly can't stand. And to make things worse, insiders claim Harry insisted that Chelsea be invited to his wedding, even though Meghan didn't want her there. That one decision says a lot about what might still linger in his heart. But the real shock came next. The judge himself, Justice Matthew Nicklin, stopped the hearing and called Harry out in open court. In front of reporters from around the world, he told the prince he was acting like any other entitled defendant who argues instead of answering questions. Imagine that, a royal getting publicly checked in court on record forever. And it didn't stop there. Every time Harry tried to push back or explain himself, the judge had to interrupt and remind him of courtroom procedure, over and over again. Each correction was another sting, another reminder that royal status doesn't count for much inside a courtroom. And remember, this is someone who's already spent millions in legal battles across multiple countries with entire teams of elite lawyers. Yet here he is being schooled,
doing all of these papers. And what's interesting is these folks are so fame hungry, okay? And then when they get written about, they don't love the way they've been written about. It's like, okay, you guys can't make your mind up, you can't be happy, it's this catch-22. You want constant press. And
by a judge for not understanding how the system actually works. What a scene. And somehow, even after all these years, Harry still can't manage to follow the simplest courtroom rules. He just can't stop himself from talking when silence would help him most. Before her passing, Queen Elizabeth had apparently warned him about exactly this. She pulled him aside and told him clearly, what's in print stays in print. She knew her grandson's impulsive streak too well, his tendency to act first and think later, especially when emotions ran high. She urged him never to turn private pain into public stories, reminding him that once something's written and published, it can and will come back to haunt you. But Harry didn't listen. He went ahead, released his memoir Spare, and proudly promoted it around the world, calling it his truth. Now that same book is being read line by line in court, and it's reportedly exposing contradictions under oath. The Queen's warning turned out to be painfully prophetic. What's in print truly stays in print. She saw this chaos coming from miles away, but Harry believed he knew better. Now her words are echoing through the courtroom, proving her wisdom once again. And if that wasn't enough, there's another piece of irony that's making the whole case look even worse for him. While Harry insists the royal family stopped him from suing the media, his brother Prince William quietly did exactly that. And won. Multiple times, too. He filed lawsuits against several European magazines over privacy breaches, handled them discreetly, and walked away victorious every single time. No drama, no shouting matches, just calm professionalism. And here's the twist that must sting the most. William reportedly donated every penny from his legal victories to the Invictus Games, Harry's own charity. Think about that. William fought and won against the press, then gave the money to support Harry's organization. That completely destroys Harry's excuse that the royal...
Harry was sworn in before taking his seat in the witness box, and he was questioned under oath by David Sherborne, who is his barrister. He was then cross-examined by Anthony White KC, who is, of course, representing the Daily Mail newspaper. Anthony White KC knows his onions and has taken Harry down and taken him down.
Family had some kind of rule stopping him from taking legal action. William proved that wasn't true, not once, but several times. Even Harry himself admitted during his book promotion that the so-called no-sue policy wasn't really a strict rule. So which version is real, Harry? Because you can't have it both ways. Either the family blocked you from suing, or the rule never mattered at all. Under oath, that contradiction is hard to ignore. And that's the clearest difference between the two brothers. One handles his business quietly, with strategy and restraint. The other can't stop making noise, even when silence could save him. William fought for principle and gave away every penny he won. Harry, on the other hand, seems to be fighting for revenge, and maybe for money too. William wanted justice and closure. Harry looks like he's chasing attention and paychecks. One brother handled media intrusion with grace and restraint. The other is spiraling publicly as his own words turn into evidence against him. Now let's talk about what's really behind this courtroom war: money. Harry's memoir Spare landed him a staggering $20 million advance. Add in the Netflix deal, worth around $100 million, and the Spotify contract, another $20 million before it all collapsed. Altogether, that's roughly $150 million earned in just 4 years. But here's where the math gets messy. Where did it all go? His legal battle alone is costing around £40 million in fees. The Montecito mansion, about $14 million. Private security, roughly $3 million a year. Even with those costs, the numbers don't add up. So people are asking, how does someone who made 9 figures in 4 years still seem cash-strapped? And there's something even stranger.
Harry's relationship with Chelsea Davy, the true love of his life, front and centre at the High Court on day 2 of this explosive case between the delusional Duke and the Daily Mail newspaper. Lots of details about their romance being discussed as Harry's facial expressions were judged in intimate detail.
Despite their fortune, Harry and Meghan reportedly spend more time in other people's luxury homes than their own. Private jets, borrowed villas, borrowed estates, they're seen everywhere, but rarely as hosts. Hollywood insiders have started calling them permanent house guests who never pick up the check. Then came that brutal comment from Spotify executives calling them grifters. That one word traveled fast through the entertainment world, damaging their credibility big time. Because once that label sticks in Hollywood, doors start closing, contracts shrink, calls stop coming, and every new deal gets harder to secure. Netflix is reportedly reconsidering its renewal with them after disappointing viewership numbers. The documentary didn't perform as expected. The Spare adaptation stalled indefinitely. Every project seems to stir drama, but not the kind that draws audiences. Industry whispers are growing louder. Is the Sussex brand even worth it anymore? And here's where things get downright terrifying for Harry. If he loses this lawsuit, he might have to personally cover that £40 million legal bill. The judge already warned everyone involved that they could be on the hook for the full amount. For someone who's allegedly burned through $150 million in just a few years, that could spell total financial collapse. Mansion sold, brand damaged, and career in ruins. His lawyers seem to see it too, because they're leaving. Fast. Multiple senior attorneys have reportedly withdrawn from representing him, and not because of personal reasons, but because they can see how badly this is going. When top lawyers walk away from a high-profile royal case with massive fees still on the table,
this relationship now being in the spotlight highlights the huge difference between Harry's current wife, Meghan Markle, and the woman who he for a long time believed was the true love of his life, Chelsea Davy. Now, of course, we've got to be clear, she's moved on, she's incredibly happy, living a brilliant life with a new husband and children, and not at all pining for Harry. Indeed, Chelsea Davy will be absolutely furious that he is putting her under the international microscope once again. But just think about the contrast here, folks. Think about why Meghan Markle is so clearly unhappy about this. Because Meghan Markle could never be said to be someone who didn't leak intimate details of her private life with Prince Harry to the media. Because she did, multiple times.
that says a lot. It means they expect disaster, and they don't want their names tied to it. The reasons are embarrassing. Simple legal errors, mistakes that would make a first-year law student cringe. For starters, several of Harry's claims are way too old to even be valid. Some allegedly date all the way back to 2001, completely outside the legal time limits. That's a rookie error. Then, his team reportedly failed to cross-check what Harry wrote in Spare with what he's saying under oath. That's litigation 101. Know your client's story before you go to court. Yet somehow, his own memoir, filled with deeply personal details, is now being used against him. It's a legal train wreck playing out in real time. And Harry is right at the center of it. Nobody on Harry's team thought to double-check whether his sworn testimony might clash with the stories he told in Spare. It's unbelievable. They never prepared him for what was coming. Of course, the Daily Mail's lawyers were going to use his own book against him. Of course, they'd go line by line, hunting for contradictions. That's basic courtroom strategy. How does a legal team charging £40 million miss something so obvious? Then came the part that stunned the room. The Daily Mail's royal editor, Rebecca English, was accused of paying a private investigator £200 for Chelsea's flight details. An email reportedly backs this up, even though she now says she doesn't remember it. The document exists, and it's being used in court. The defense, however, is countering hard, claiming all their info came from open sources, public records, and leaks from Harry's own circle. They're arguing it wasn't illegal snooping, just journalism. And that's where Harry's entire case starts collapsing. Because when you live a life surrounded by loose-lipped friends, late-night parties, and oversharing, it's hard to claim total privacy. Harry himself admitted in Spare that he was often intoxicated, experimenting with substances, and making reckless choices. Those moments, proudly written by him, now paint a different picture in court. The paranoia he describes might not have come from being followed, but from the lifestyle he admitted to. Now, the lawyers who once stood by him are quietly backing away, collecting their last paychecks before this all blows up. Because what's coming isn't just humiliating, it could have serious consequences. Legal experts are whispering about the risk of perjury, which means giving false testimony under oath. That's not just a fine, that's criminal territory. And here's where it gets worse. Harry's contradictions aren't vague or based on faulty memory. They're printed, proofread, and distributed worldwide. These aren't rumors. They're his own verified words, promoted by him for months in interviews where he insisted the book was completely accurate. Now, under oath, he's saying things that directly oppose what he published. That's not a small slip. That's a major legal problem. Because prosecutors don't need secondhand accounts. They have the book. They have the testimony. They can literally compare the two. It's as direct and undeniable as evidence gets. If this case keeps crumbling, the fallout could be devastating. Harry could end up personally responsible for that enormous £40 million legal bill. His reputation would take another brutal hit, and a potential inquiry into false statements could follow. Family trust, gone. Public sympathy, fading fast. And the pattern here feels painfully familiar. Arrogance, denial, and a belief that royal status can somehow shield you from reality.
Right from the off, Harry was on the defensive and very bristly and very abrasive. And the judge intervened 3 times to try and calm him down. I mean, the first time, which was the one that you showed there, he was actually quite sympathetic, and he was quite like, look, this is my job. I understand that this is a big moment for you, but you're making a mistake that a lot of people make. Let me just tell you, your job now is just to answer these questions. Let your legal team answer the case. And
the higher the
Harry
pedestal, the harder the
okay,
fall.
my lord, yeah,
and this
whatever.
one's happening in front of the entire world. And here's where everything reaches a breaking point. What started as a high-profile privacy case has turned into a full-blown royal disaster, one that could redefine Harry's entire public image forever. Because this isn't just about the Daily Mail anymore. It's about credibility, judgment, and whether the prince who once demanded truth can actually handle it when it's turned on him. Behind the scenes, the pressure is brutal. Sources close to the case say Harry's remaining legal advisors are begging him to settle quietly, but he's refusing, insisting on clearing his name, even as the odds collapse. They're warning him that every new day in court means more exposure, more contradictions, and more documents becoming public record. And the timing couldn't be worse. The British press is tearing into every inconsistency, every word he ever wrote, while American tabloids amplify it to global audiences. He's trapped between 2 worlds, royal protocol and Hollywood drama, and losing ground in both. Even people once sympathetic are beginning to distance themselves. Legal commentators who initially praised Harry's courage for taking on the tabloids are now saying his case might do more harm than good for media reform campaigns. They point out that his personal choices, writing spare, appearing in interviews, releasing documentaries about private matters, make it impossible to argue true invasion of privacy.
It meant that rather than give his evidence and go in the witness stand at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow, he's done it today. A source close to the Duke's claim said that the Daily Mail and their legal team have had months to inform the court that their opening argument would last less than 2 hours. Instead, they've had to resort to game playing and dirty tricks consistent with the way that they've treated not just the Duke, but all of the victims in this case. Have you noticed how Harry is once again the victim? This is becoming a pattern.
In short, he made himself a public figure by choice, then sued for being treated like one. And what's really haunting him now is how much his own words weigh against him. In court filings, the defense keeps quoting his book directly. Passages about arguments, substance use, private trips, and secret conversations are being projected in black and white text for the courtroom to read. Every line he once thought would build his brand is now tearing down his credibility. You can almost picture him sitting there, realizing he's become his own worst witness. Meanwhile, Meghan's team in California is reportedly in crisis mode, trying to manage the PR fallout. She's said to be furious that Harry ignored advice to stay out of the courtroom spotlight. Her circle is worried about what this could mean for upcoming projects, because the entertainment industry hates unpredictability. When executives smell chaos, they quietly step away. Nobody wants to invest in someone who keeps generating controversy instead of content. And if that weren't enough, insiders claim palace staff are watching closely too. They won't comment publicly, but behind the scenes, there's growing concern about the reputational spillover. Each time Harry takes the stand, he pulls the monarchy back into the drama. Senior aides reportedly fear that his ongoing testimony could reopen wounds the family has worked years to close. Even loyal supporters are wondering if he realizes how much damage he's doing to the institution his grandmother spent 7 decades protecting. Financially, the stakes are terrifying.
Joke about, like, okay, what's going on with Better Up? You lost Senabale. You are quiet when it comes to African Parks charity due to all of the scandal that they are plagued by. Maybe he's thrusting all this Invictus stuff at us to prove that he does something sometimes, Kev.
Yeah, very much so. As I say, this is a guy, who used to have a very full and fulfilled life. Now he doesn't. And the way Radar Online put it or that quote, I think that does sum it up. America for him, his American dream, Harry's American dream has turned into...
If he loses, and most analysts now expect that he will, the damages and legal costs could cripple him. Remember, these aren't symbolic numbers. £40 million in potential liability, plus the collapse of future media deals if his brand keeps deteriorating. Hollywood forgives scandal, but not failure. You can survive a headline. You can't survive being seen as unprofitable. And right now, every sign points to shrinking opportunities. Some friends are reportedly suggesting that Harry take a step back, issue a brief statement accepting partial responsibility, and retreat from the spotlight for a while. But that's not his style. He's still convinced he can fight, win, and prove everyone wrong. It's that same stubborn streak that once made him one of the most loved royals. Rebellious, fiery, unpredictable. But now it's turning into his downfall. The world that once cheered his independence is now watching him implode under its weight. And then there's the emotional side. People close to him describe mood swings, sleepless nights, and constant frustration. They say he feels misunderstood and cornered, convinced that everyone, the press, the palace, even his lawyers, has betrayed him. But in reality, this is a storm he built himself. The interviews, the revelations, the lawsuits, all decisions he personally approved.
With royal duties that is really worth paying attention to, it shows that Harry has not given up on his dream of being half in and half out of the royal family and would like to do royal jobs again. We've seen this before. Harry has offered to step in and help, presenting himself as a kind of royal reserve player, suggesting that reliably triggers deep anxiety inside the palace. The last thing William wants is any revival of a half in, half out model, but this kite flying raises the possibility that Harry thinks the king might be persuaded to think differently. The Us Weekly piece also underlines the personal cost of Harry's exile. Friends say he misses the structure, hierarchy, and meaning that royal life once imposed, even as he remains committed to his Californian existence with Meghan and their children.
Spare earned Harry a $20 million advance. Netflix deal.
Every headline that hurts him now was, at one point, part of his plan to take control of the narrative. Now, the narrative controls him. What's especially tragic is how preventable this all was. If he had followed his grandmother's warning, what's in print stays in print, he could have avoided the courtroom chaos entirely. If he'd modeled his legal strategy after his brother's calm professionalism, he might have won quietly and earned respect. Instead, he doubled down on confrontation, and now the consequences are public, permanent, and painful. Insiders say Meghan is preparing for the worst-case scenario, planning how to distance her image from the legal meltdown. She's refocusing on solo ventures, rebranding herself apart from the royal connection that once defined her. Some reports even claim her team is advising her to stay silent, avoid defending Harry publicly, and let the storm pass without dragging her into it. That silence, though, speaks volumes. The court's final ruling could still take months, but the damage is already done. The headlines are brutal, the memes relentless, and the sympathy nearly gone. Once, Harry was the people's prince, the brave soldier who broke royal tradition to follow his heart. Now he's the man suing newspapers, while his own book betrays him line by line. And if the judge's tone so far is any sign,
Prince William's reach in the celebrity space, because Harry's like, I live in Hollywood, I should have these types of contacts through my charity initiatives. Yeah. And they say that he's been on the phone with J-Lo recently, trying to recruit J-Lo to do some charity stuff with him. Does that Where do you stand? Do you buy that? I thought it was so silly. I didn't trust it. But at the same time,
The verdict won't be kind. Every hearing feels colder, every exchange more strained. The once confident prince is reportedly shrinking behind his lawyers, the same lawyers who now seem to wish they'd never taken the case. The public rebukes, the walkouts, the mounting costs, it's all piling up into a picture no PR team can fix. So where does it end? Maybe not in victory or even closure, but in exhaustion. The kind that makes even headlines lose interest. Because at some point, people stop choosing sides and start moving on. And that's the cruelest twist of all. After all the noise, the money, the confessions, Harry's biggest fear might finally come true. Not being hated, just being forgotten. Catastrophic lawsuit, public embarrassment, family silence, it's all crashing down at once. Harry's walking the same path his uncle once did, step by step, and it's brutal to watch. Both believed they were untouchable, that their titles could shield them from reality. But now, both are learning that the crown doesn't protect you when you burn every bridge behind it. The royal family has gone completely quiet. King Charles hasn't called. William hasn't reached out. Not a single sign of contact. They've seen this story before. They lived through Andrew's downfall. And they know better than to get dragged into another one. People close to the palace say that during Harry's London stay, he kept checking his phone non-stop, waiting for some sign of forgiveness or acknowledgement. But the silence? That was the answer. Those ties are gone. And he's the one who cut them. Chelsea Davies saw it coming long before anyone else did. She stepped away before the chaos, before the spotlight became poison. Now she's living a calm, private, fulfilling life.
And conspiracy. Allegations include payments for sworn evidence and the deliberate creation of a misleading email chain. Now, Tom Sykes has reported that a witness accuses Harry's team of intimidating him. This is Gavin Burrows, who you mentioned. And he outlined pre-trial hearings are usually pretty dry affairs. But today's gathering at the High Court in London, ahead of Prince Harry, Baroness Lawrence and Sir Elton John's case against the publisher of the Daily Mail, exploded into high drama. As a key witness alleged he was being intimidated by Prince Harry's legal team, and Harry's legal team said they were being unfairly accused of fraud and dishonesty by the Mail's lawyers.
Successful, happy, and completely free from the circus that follows Harry everywhere he goes. She's proof of what he could have had, peace instead of publicity. Meanwhile, Harry looks unrecognizable, weary, pale, and completely drained. Not the confident prince who once captivated the world, but a man defeated by his own choices. The weight of his mistakes shows in every photo, every court appearance, every headline. This isn't just stress, it's the toll of a life built on grudges and revenge. He ignored every warning, including his grandmother's wise words. Now he's living the consequences in real time. £40 million gone in legal fees, lawyers walking out, judges scolding him in open court, his own book turned into evidence against him. It's a level of downfall that's hard to even process, and it's entirely self-inflicted. The same words he thought would make him powerful are now the ones tearing him apart. And through it all, Meghan remains in California, watching, waiting, and probably calculating the damage. Every new headline about Chelsea Davies' poise and dignity cuts deeper, drawing a painful comparison she can't control. The media's framing is ruthless. The graceful ex versus the ambitious wife. And for once, Meghan can't spin it. This isn't just a legal loss, it's a personal collapse. The family's trust? Gone. The money? Draining fast. His reputation? In free fall. What began as a fight for privacy has turned into a global spectacle of downfall and regret. Every decision, every grudge, every truth he tried to weaponize has come back like a boomerang. The question now isn't whether he wins this case, it's whether he survives it intact. Financial ruin, broken relationships, public rejection, it's all circling closer. Harry built this chaos piece by piece, and now he's standing in the ruins of it, alone. So, what do you think? Is this lawsuit really about justice? Or just Harry reliving the heartbreak of the one who got away? Are you Team Chelsea or Team Meghan? Do you think this ends in bankruptcy or something even worse? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear every opinion. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this video, because the next chapter is coming soon. The verdict, the fallout, and the final collapse. This royal storm is far from over. See you on the next one.